If you don't put the big rocks in the jar first, all the little rocks are going to fill the jar up and you'll have no room for the big rocks. So the things that are most important to you, if those things don't go in first, you can forget about them ever being done. They will never be priority. And then all of the things that you see that you really don't want to deal with, you don't want to deal with your health being bad, and you sure don't want to deal with a problem in your family or your relationships with your family.
Welcome back to the Growth Over Comfort podcast. I am your co-host, Randy Anderson, joined again by amazing co-host, Steve Miller. And today we are just having a conversation about different business topics. We're going to dive in and just see where the conversation leads. I feel like there's a lot of business experience between both of us, definitely more on Steve's side. And there's a lot of business questions, definitely more on my side. So I feel like that would be a great kind of balance because Sure. I got the questions and hopefully you've got some answers and a few. So let's just get started. I don't have enough time in the day. Like I have so many things that I want to do and so many priorities that I have to get done. How do you, because you have a lot of responsibilities between all your different businesses, right? And all of your different opportunities you're also seeking. How do you go about prioritizing that?
There's a couple of things in that. Number one, you don't have a time problem. You have a priority problem. Mm-hmm. Most people fail to realize that it's the priority that counts. It's not the time that counts. When I'm looking at things and trying to make the best decision, it's making the best priority choice for me. Fortunate for me, I've come to realize that for me to get the big rocks in that I need to get in, some of those big rocks need to happen before 6 o'clock in the morning. So we've talked about it. I'm up extremely early for normal humans, and I put some time in on that side to get ahead and do the things that I know need to be done, like exercise, making sure I read my Bible, making sure I'm reading a solid nonfiction book, making sure I'm doing those things to take care of it. It also allows my day to start with a specific pattern, which I think is really important when you're thinking about your time. Give me some of you say you don't have enough time. What is the problem with your time, you think?
For me, I think the problem with my time is that I have made a lot of commitments.
Okay.
I've made a lot of almost, I want to say promises. I guess that is what a commitment is. And I have a hard time saying no at the same time.
Right.
And I want to have a dog in every fight, basically.
Right.
For instance, I do contracting with websites. I also do a lot of video work with different content creators. And it's like a juggling act trying to keep it all afloat. And I do agree with you about priority. It's funny because there's two types of priorities. There is what is due next.
Right.
But then there's what I feel like is more important to me. Do you know what I mean?
Right. One of the biggest problems in what you just said is the things that are important to you that take, in your mind, priority over the things that you know that you need to do, the tasks that need to be completed, will always leave you feeling stressed and like you don't have enough time because those things are always in your head going, I need you to complete me. I need to be finished. Why am I not finished yet? And they're going to scream at you all day.
Yeah.
So a couple of real things that you can do. The first one, Ed Mylett divides his day into 3 days. I divide my day into 2 days because he says it right and a lot better than I would ever say it. But the way that we treat time today and the way time was set up however many moons ago, with all the things that we have, to treat 24 hours like they would treat 24 hours 100 years ago is crazy. Because it used to take, if I wanted to talk to you and you lived in Hartselle, I would have to send a letter. I would have to get a horse and ride up there. So I'm at least 2 or 3 days or a week to get to you. Now, if I want to talk to you, I can pick up my phone, I can text you, I can physically call you, I can do a Zoom meeting with you, I can send you an email, and all of those things are instant. Mm-hmm. So you can compress time into those 2 days and then just put the big things in there that you know you need to do. Your family's important to you.
Yeah, of course.
Make sure you spend time with your family. Right. Your health is important to you. Make sure you take care of your fitness side. Your spirit is important to you. Make sure you're feeding your spirit so that all of the other bad things don't come out. Your mental, what you are as a person, is important to you. So you want to be seen in the market as a professional. So you need to take care of all of those things before you take care of any of the other things. And then once all of those things are taken care of, you get to 12 o'clock, hit reset, take care of all of those things again, and then watch your day go and just see how much better it goes. Now you're getting 2 days in 1 day. So at the end of the week, you've got 10 days. So what happened to me when I did that, the first week, I was like, I didn't get everything done that I wanted to do that day.
Right.
Well, it wasn't the next day. It was 12 o'clock.
Okay. I see where you're going with that.
So I could take that, and I'm starting over at 12 o'clock, and I'm finished, and then all of those things that I was going to do that day were done.
I like that.
So I'm not always as good as I need to be in a day, but I'm pretty doggone good in 2.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. That's really good. Because I do feel that way about, sometimes I look up and I go, I cannot believe it is 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
And I still have all these things to do. That's fascinating. Can you flip it? Can you do all your work tasks earlier and then do your other? I guess, though, what you're saying is it works out better if you do it the other way.
It's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
It is the illustration that's been given for 100 years. If you don't put the big rocks in the jar first, all the little rocks are going to fill the jar up, and you'll have no room for the big rocks.
Okay.
So the things that are most important to you, if those things don't go in first, you can forget about them ever being done. They will never be priority. You'll never have a space for them in your life. And then all of the things that you see that you really don't want to deal with, you don't want to deal with your health being bad. You don't want to deal with a heart that's black because there's no light going into it. You don't want to deal with your mind being clouded and cluttered with things that are useless. And you sure don't want to deal with a problem in your family or your relationships with your family.
Yeah. Wow. That's really good. I'm reminded of, I went to a Christian school growing up.
Okay.
And we'd always have different speakers come in to chapel every week.
Right.
And the first time I saw it was great and amazing. Then every time you see it after that, you're like, yeah, I know. It's the, you know what I'm about to say, it's the rock example, which is what you used, where you put the rocks in and all that, and then you fill up the pebbles, and then you have another one and you try to do the same thing with the pebbles in there first.
Sure.
But you're exactly right, because when I watched that when I was younger, the first time it was like, yes, this is great. But then the second time you see it, you're like, oh, this is cheesy. I've already seen this. But the funny thing is I feel like if God keeps bringing that example to you, that means you're not getting it.
Right.
You know? And honestly, I feel like that's something I don't get, is because for me, the little pebbles, they cry out, but the big rocks remain silent.
Right.
And so the little pebbles, did you send this email? Did you call this client? Did you text that? Did you upload this? Did you do these things? Did you edit that video? Those little things, they're very important, but they're not like my wife over in the corner saying, did you spend time with me?
Yeah.
Or one of my girls in the corner saying, Daddy, play dolls with me. You know? And I think I really like what you're saying there, because those little rocks are very loud.
Yeah, one of my favorite songs kind of coming up through Larno Harris, I Miss My Time With You.
Oh, yeah.
You know, where it opens with, there he was just waiting in an old familiar place.
Uh-huh. I haven't heard it, but I mean, just the title itself made me think it would probably pull my heartstrings.
And it's Jesus waiting in that old familiar place. And Jesus is saying to him, I miss my time with you. I miss those moments together.
Yeah.
And you think about that, and you go, who deserves time more?
Yeah.
You mean, at the end of the day. And one of the things that I learned this Christmas, and you learn things along the way. Time's the most valuable thing we have. Mm-hmm. There's not a greater gift than time.
Right.
It's the one thing everybody says, well, everybody has the same amount of time. We do when it ticks off, but everybody doesn't use it the same.
Yeah.
And the illustration for that, my grandsons too. So they're home for Christmas on Christmas, which makes all the grandparents in the world smile.
Yeah.
And he probably has 30 presents. And he's going through those as fast as a human can go through them. As fast as he can unwrap those, he's unwrapping them. And his eyes would light up like, boom. And it's amazing. And then, bam, he's right to the next one. Yeah. And I don't think he understood or knew that he had anything in the 30. My daughter got my wife a picture of her home place. Her mom passed away. And she got her a picture of her home place with the date at the bottom in the Crawford home.
Mm-hmm.
It's about this big. And I watched my wife start crying. And I watched how she would hold it up and look at it. And then she would cry some more. And then I watched her walk around the house looking for a place to put it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still exactly where she'll see it every day. And it's really important to her. And I sat there and I thought, that's kind of an illustration of how we treat time. Are we treating time like a 2-year-old treats time? It's a gift. Are we just flipping through it? Or are we treating time like an adult treats time with a gift that's really valuable, important, paying attention to it, making sure that we know what it is, understanding where it's at every day, and making it visible so we don't miss it?
Yeah. Man, that is deep. Is that what I saw, like this near your fireplace?
Oh, yeah.
In the entranceway at your house? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember we talked.
See it
you showed
every
it
day.
to me. Yeah. You can see it right there. Like if you walked in the house, you see it. It's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Versus, nothing against the 30 gifts, but some of those probably you're not even sure where they're at now.
Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, the same with my daughters. Like they get gifts, Christmas, birthdays, and it's like,
Sure.
that one's gone. I don't know where it is now.
Sure. You've been in business a minute. Let me ask you this question. You see clients all the time, and you have some that have it together. You have some big, high-dollar, high-quality people that you deal with. What's one of the things that you see that they're missing?
The high-quality people?
Yeah.
Definitely more time.
Mm.
More time. I mean, they have so many ideas of things they want to do, but not enough time to get the tasks done. I think that's one reason they come to me is they want to hire someone to take care of the tasks that they know they can pass off to someone.
Right.
Which that's one thing I love doing is, I love helping creators create. Creators create content, and then after they've created the videos, the raw video, I can come in and edit them.
Right.
They can edit them, but someone else can learn how to edit their style, So they can do what they do, and I'll do best what I do best, So
right. Well,
definitely time.
What if you did that with your day? You were talking about your day. What if you do that with your day?
Do you mean pass it off to someone else?
Yeah.
I know. Yep. He got me. No, I mean, you are right, because I've been working with a contractor and editor for my business, trying to help. And she's got like 15-ish hours a week now that she works.
Oh, wow.
But actually tomorrow I have a meeting with her, and I'm going to ask her, how much more can you handle? Like, I'd love to bump you up and do more, because I've had editors before where they would take my pieces of work and then they'd run with it.
Yeah.
And I remember how freeing it was. That's always kind of hard, because it's like when I get the edit back, I'm always like, this isn't exactly what I would have done, or I could have done this better. But, Jimmy Donaldson, Mr. Beast, the biggest YouTuber, he talks about that. A lot of people talk about this in business. But even if they are only 60 or 70% as good at an edit as I am, they can spend 7 to 8 hours doing it, where I only have 1 or 2 hours to do it. So just numbers wise, they should make a better product.
Right.
So I agree with you. I think it's important to give responsibility to someone else for something that can be outsourced.
Right.
So I think my biggest thing is trusting, and this is real, like saying I'm going to do that, and trusting God is going to, number one, provide the money to pay for those services.
Right.
And number two, that they're going to do a great job, And so it's a trust thing to hire someone.
Right.
And to give them something that to me is so precious. Like the edits I do for my clients, they're precious. I mean, my company's name is Crema Video. I don't know if I've mentioned that on the podcast, but Crema Video, and we named it after coffee because I love coffee. And when you pull an espresso shot, there's this thick layer of cream at the top, and it's called crema. And crema always gets everywhere in the coffee mixture, and in the espresso shot, but it always rises to the top. And we've talked about that before.
Oh, sure. I love it.
Yeah.
It's a great name, great concept.
Yeah. And I told that to a client that I'm trying to start doing some work with today. And everyone I've told that to, they always say, I love that. I love that. Now I'm saying, is it true? We have to rise to the top. Like I'm saying that to everyone.
Right.
Do we rise to the top?
I put out a video Sunday. Life only gets better when you get better.
Yeah.
The question in all of what we're talking about with time is if you use your time to be your best version of yourself physically, to be your best version of yourself spiritually, to be your best version of yourself professionally, mentally, and then to have all of the stuff that your family pours into you, and you present the best version of you to the world, what does that allow for? That allows for you to be the dead level best you can be.
Yeah.
If you're not doing those things, the world gets maybe 75% of you.
Yeah, or less.
Yeah, you may not like what it looks like, but I will promise you, you will not like what it looks like 5 years from now.
Yeah, that's true. That's really true. I mean, I even think about last week. It was last Monday when we first recorded, and I got up early to do that. And
sure.
I don't get up early. Like I think we
right.
talked
You
about
said
that.
you stay up later.
Yeah, I usually
That's okay.
stay up late.
Just find the right hours in that.
Right,
Make
yeah.
it work.
But even then, I don't know. I think getting up early is a secret hack because I felt so productive that day, and all I did was come in here and set up cameras and stuff.
Right.
But it's like I felt productive.
Mine felt really weird this morning because I get up. I set my clock set for 3:28.
Right.
I normally hit a snooze, and then I get up. This morning, I realized while I'm walking, starting my day, I realized, okay, that's 10 minutes you can be writing that your snooze is on.
Mm.
So now there's no reason for me not to get up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and get up. That's 10 extra minutes. I can take those 10 extra minutes and turn them into really, for me, about 45 minutes because it normally takes that for me to get in the kind of mindset that I need to be in to write.
Yeah.
So I can get up, I can read, I can study, I can write for 10 to 15 minutes, and then I can go do my workout, which completely changes my day.
Yeah.
And people will say that, 10 minutes, 15 minutes of writing is not really that big of a deal. It is when it's over 365 days.
100%. Yeah.
Then I don't know the math on that. Somebody smart will do that on the podcast. If you're really, really good, if you'll do that math, put it in the comments. We'd appreciate it. If you're wrong, we'll call you out.
That's
but
right.
We'd appreciate it if you'll do the math.
That's good.
It's a long time.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a whole lot. I mean,
It's an hour every 4 days.
That's what I was about to say. If you can get an extra hour somewhere, I mean, that's huge.
I hadn't thought about that. That's almost 2 hours a week that I'm writing.
Yeah, extra.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. So if we're putting in the big rocks first, and then all the extra little small pebbles, I mean, they're important, but they're not as big.
They are, yes.
And I say that knowing if I mess up something with a client or something goes wrong with a client, that's unfortunate. We try to avoid that. We try to make it right. But all in all, I can find another client.
Right.
Hopefully.
There's like 8 billion people on the planet.
Exactly.
Somebody will do it.
Exactly. The one big rock, it's a lot harder to find another family, is what I'm saying, than find another client. Like
people do it every day.
They do.
But ask them if it's worth it.
Yeah, exactly. So you want to make sure that like the big rocks are in place. But all that I'm saying is that with those big rocks in place, some of the small rocks are going to fall out.
Okay.
So we have to choose priority, and we have to say this wasn't as important. It can move to the next day, or it can be pushed off. How do you do that? How do you say, all right, this is not as important, or maybe it is really important, but it's just lower, and you have to tell yourself mentally it can wait.
I'll give you my side. Me putting the big rocks in where they go. I've been doing that consistently now for about 2 months. Me being the version of me that I am now 2 months into that allows for those little rocks to go in there quicker.
Okay. Yeah. I can see that.
So I'm able to get the little rocks in quicker because I pay more attention to the time that I actually spend. So if you look up and realize, hey, I've been on my cell phone today for 2 hours, that's at least 6 little rocks.
Yeah, for sure.
And you go, but I really like being on my cell phone. Do you like being on your cell phone more than you like having something to eat? Because if you don't put the little rocks in the jar, those people are not going to pay you.
Yeah.
And if they don't pay you, you don't get to eat.
That's exactly right.
And your wife, and I know she loves you, but there'll come a time where she'll go, all right, listen, you don't have food. We don't have any money. I'm going to find somebody else. So you go right back to the problem. There is a win, but it's all about getting better. It's all about you becoming the type person that puts the big rocks in, takes care of it, so that the little rocks can go in there.
Yeah.
And then the things that you really, really enjoy come in on the top, and you've got it all.
Yeah.
So what happens when the jar breaks? We talked about that, but It's a whole nother conversation.
I feel like I do things to accidentally almost break the jar not every day, but almost every week.
Right.
There's a moment where I'm just like, this is it. I can't deal. I'm out. And I'm just like, I'm just going to go on a walk, but anyway, you're right though. That is a conversation probably for
That's
another day.
another day. Right.
Maybe we'll make that another future episode. Okay. Well, I think this is great. Do you have any final suggestions about so for instance, I've heard people say that one way to see what your time looks like really is try to every 15 minutes, maybe that's too often, maybe every 30 minutes, write down some things you did during that last 30 minutes. And you actually can look back at it and go, oh, wow, you're right. I spent time on my phone. I spent a good minute of time on my phone. And I act like I'm so busy, but like I literally just spent 20 minutes on my phone. That could have been that email. It's like we've said in a previous episode, there's a cost. The cost of me doing something that's relaxing and comfortable is it costs something later in the day. Mm-hmm. So do you have any suggestions for little things?
I do. I have two things.
Yeah.
The quote is that if you do easy things up front, it's going to be hard at the end.
Yeah.
If you do the hard things up front, it becomes easy at the end.
Yeah.
So that's one. But the biggest one, the gentleman that I work with that owns the company that I'm with, his mom passed away a little while ago, and she was a journaler, so she wrote every day.
Yeah.
And the day that she passed away, it talked about all of the things that she was grateful for, all of the things that she was thankful for. And she had a little prayer that she always had at the end. And her little prayer that day ended with, from a person with a very grateful heart.
Oh.
And we talked about time being the most important thing that you could possibly ever have. Start treating it from a very grateful heart.
Yeah.
And I really think you'll stop wasting it.
Mm.
And you're like, Steve, I didn't want you to tell me I waste time. But if you're saying you don't have enough time, you're wasting time.
Yeah, somewhere, for sure.
Somewhere there's an issue.
Yeah.
Somewhere there's a problem.
Yeah.
And I can't fix your problem. I mean, there are all kinds of people out there on the planet that are like, would you just tell me what to do? You know what to do. It's like putting food in your mouth. You know what to eat. Mm. You know the amount of exercise you need. It's different for everybody. It really takes what it takes for you. And it takes identifying and seeing the things that are important. And that's for everybody out there. That's for everybody in the world that's doing anything in the world. It's going to take what it takes for you.
Yeah.
Right now, I told you last time, my wife says, I'm absolutely crazy for getting up when I get up. But for me to do the things I want to do and to be the impact and to have the impact that I want to make, it takes that for me. And it's going to take a lot more than that. There may come a time when it doesn't. But right now, I'm not in condition to do the things that I'd like to do. I'm not physically there. I'm not spiritually there. I'm not mentally there. I don't have the quality time and do the things with my family that I want to do to grow the inner me. So I really have to work on that. But it'll be different as it goes.
Yeah.
And it'll be better as it goes. And I think it's the same thing on your side.
For sure. Yeah, I agree completely. I think it's as long as we're still choosing growth over comfort, So just to do a quick summary, I think that it's definitely prioritize the big things, put those in place first, take care of those, maybe even split your day into mentally split them into 2 days.
100%.
Yeah. And then take care of the big stuff first. It makes the small things come a lot easier.
Right.
And I think also what I heard from all that is that if you can let go of something, let go of it or outsource it.
Yeah, let go or outsource.
Yeah.
Let it go. Look at the clients you don't like and don't have to deal with you.
Yeah, exactly. Or you could even, I've done this before too, is you look at the clients that you don't have enough time for and you raise your price a little bit. That would cover the cost of outsourcing. Yeah,
at some point. And I have some coaching mentors. One of them gets paid $250,000 a day.
Wow.
To work with a client.
Wow.
Now, what do you think that client's going to do when they show up there?
Be on time.
They're going to be on time. They're going to have a notebook. They're going to be attentive. They're going to pay attention.
Yeah.
When he was charging $1,000 a day, how do you think those people showed up?
Probably still, relative to that.
Yeah, completely different.
Completely different.
It's a different kind of different kind of person, different kind of impact.
Yeah.
So, there comes a time where you look at things and go, my time's more valuable than that.
100%.
I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah.
And yeah, my wife's a CPA, and there have been times that I've seen her. She's the sweetest, nicest person alive. But I've seen her, from time to time over our 31-year marriage, look at a client and go, I'm sorry, I don't have time for what you're asking me to do.
Yeah. That's good.
So.
That's good. All right. Well, that's all the time that we have today.
Perfect.
So thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Growth Over Comfort podcast. Please give this video a like or give us a follow if you're on Spotify, Apple, and all that. Make sure you subscribe and I'll do all the things you're supposed to do.
Do all the stuff.
Share the show. Thank you guys so much for everything. And we'll be back and I'll give you a progress report on my time next time.
Next time.